In Canada, we have many product licenses for the Lyra blend coupled with other ingredients. So we've got many products that are ready to be introduced into the network marketing company, as well as other products. And through the years, we've come to realize that there needs to be a chain of command here. It started in the Soviet Union. Now it has been passed along to me. Dee Sharma has volunteered, after I insisted, that she become my apprentice in this regard. So the secrets will be passed along to Dee. So we'll be in good hands for the next 20 or 25 years. We have done studies in Russia where our colleagues have extracted the single herbs on their own and then blended them together in order to treat people, but found that the co-extracted blend of the 10 together based on the biomarkers found in the raw herbs prior to extraction, the co-extraction is 5.5 times more potent than the individual herbs, and that's the reason nobody has ever been able to knock off the formula. We made specific reasons for assembling the blend as it is now. We wanted 5 adaptogens, and we wanted 5 especially potent antioxidants. We learned, quite coincidentally, through our very first clinical trial, I think it was in 2002, that we enlisted Dr. Daryl C. in San Diego to do. What we learned with that clinical trial is that not only are the plants in the blend strong antioxidants, but they in fact induce the human body to manufacture glutathione, which is the body's premier antioxidant. So we're more interested really in what the blend causes the body to do rather than what it is by itself. And that can be a very subtle distinction. We know, for example, that we are loaded up with erythrosides and ecdysterone and elaticides and betulinic acid and all the wonderful components that come out of the plant. But what do they do inside the human body? Now, I look back at my training where it was truly pharmaceutical by nature. It was one molecule for one drug, which treated one disease. And Breckman's original definition of adaptogens included a statement that said, adaptogens work in a non-specific manner, which simply means not that he didn't understand how they worked. He clearly showed that he had an intrinsic understanding of the way they function. But there are hundreds of biologically active molecules in the Lyra blend. Many have been characterized, many have not. And to be honest, I'm not even sure that I want to characterize all of them. Nothing wrong with a bit of mystery, but the nature of the blend is such that it works on the adrenal gland, it works on muscle tissue, it works on cardiac function, it works on the liver, it works on cognitive function. Now, in that way, we call it non-specific because there are so many effects. They truly do harmonize the body's chemistry, and they truly do harmonize the body's psyche. We hear as many reports from people that have achieved psychological benefit as we do from people who've had improvements to their physical well-being. There is a tendency for people to overanalyze. They look at our product label, they see 10 species of plants, some they recognize, some they don't, and so they start doing studies on their own. They go to their textbooks or the internet and see that Eleutherococcus does certain things, Raponticum does certain things, Aurelia does, and each of the individual herbs have activities that they perform within the human body when they are taken as isolated constituents. Because of this, people look at it and they will also see side effects mentioned in the literature. Some herbs might cause mild hypertension, and I emphasize might cause. There are always going to be some individuals who are susceptible to mild side effects of any given herb. And they will compare notes and say, well, for each of these 10 herbs, all that we saw really was a long list of side effects. Therefore, what good can this product possibly be? I do think that that is taking analysis a little bit too far. It's important for people to remember that the Lyra blend has evolved since the 1940s in various forms. Thousands of experiments, both published and not published. And the better experiments are actually the ones that were not published. These were done privately in our facility there, and the facility's precursors going back 75 years. They have studied the effects of combining herbs. They have studied the effects of co-extracting herbs. And what we have today is a 10 herb co-extract. That means all of the herbs are extracted together. They are not taken in isolation. Remember as well that because these are extracts and not just ground up bits and pieces of plant material, we are removing the biologically active substances. And during the course of co-extraction, these biologically active substances modify what they are extracting from the plant material that continues to remain behind. As the time frame goes from start to finish of the co-extraction process, the fluid phase is becoming increasingly enriched by molecules that dissolve in each other and the extraction medium. That means that at the end of the process, we have a formulation that is unique. Nobody else in the world is able to make it. And for those who are interested in learning more about the extraction procedure, unfortunately, we say no, that is proprietary. We do not share that with anybody. That is the secret to our success. But what emerges from the co-extraction process is a true synergy. All of the negative side effects that people may experience from the individual herbs have been removed. It is a very smooth blend with complementary functions. And my opinion is that the best way to look at the Lyra blend, the best way to explain it to your friends and family is to say, look at the sum of the parts, not evaluate the individual constituents for what they may or may not be, but the sum of the parts are what we are delivering to you in our Sulera product. The product has been acknowledged for combating the effects of stress. And everybody knows, because we teach this all the time, stress has a role in every human illness. This is a foundational product that you can take. So even if you read about glycyrrhiza having properties that may not be good for the liver, may not be good for the heart, we remove those molecules during the co-extraction. If you look at rhodiola possibly causing mild hypertension in individuals, the sum of the parts alleviates that possibility. It is the same for every ingredient in the blend. They are all placed there after years and years of experimentation with the right extraction procedure and the right concentrations to make the blend that we provide you with. It is important to explain to people this is the sum of its parts. You are taking the blend, not the individual herbs. Every ingredient complements every other ingredient. A lot of people are very familiar with extracts, but they also are familiar with the ground up herbs that one purchases in capsules. If you buy a capsule of any herb or any combination of herbs, open the capsule and look at the powder inside under a magnifying glass. What you will see are ground up bits of root, of leaf, of stem, sometimes of berry. These are really just plant parts that have been dried and ground up and placed into capsules. So of course the label reflects large quantities. You might be taking a gram of Eleutherococcus at a time, but it's ground up root. Well, consider what a plant root is like in the ground. It is a very solid structure that must resist environmental stresses. And because of this, plant material being mostly cellulose is what you are getting when you buy ground up bits of plant. So there are two things involved here, two factors that you must consider. First of all, when you buy ground up herb in a capsule, you're getting the biologically active substances that you want, the molecules that are good for your health, but they're encased in little particles of cellulose. Cellulose makes up the majority of the weight of the product when you're buying herbs in capsules. Cellulose is also something that we humans cannot digest. We do not possess an enzyme called cellulase. And therefore, when you take these fine particles of the molecules you want encased in cellulose, a little bit will dissolve in the acidic environment of your stomach, but for the most part, it remains an intact cellulose particle that you excrete at the end of the day. So you're not getting the benefits of the molecules. In a co-extracted blend, we are removing the biologically active substances from the cellulose, from the lignans, from the other structural components of the plant, and isolating the biologically active molecules. So you're getting a smaller weight. You might only be getting 20 or 25 milligrams of the erythrosides, of the alacosides, of the betulinic acid, for example. But those are the concentrations that are biologically effective. You might buy a gram of eleutherococcus as a ground up powder, but you're getting 5 milligrams of the active constituents. And those 5 milligrams are not even fully accessible to the body. When you buy the Lyra co-extracted blend, you are getting the good stuff, and you are leaving all the body neutral stuff behind. We leave that in the extraction chamber. We harvest the fluid that goes into the Lyra blend. So you're getting the mass of the biologically active substances your body needs. They are liberated from the cellulose, and you are getting the right molecules in the right concentrations. Well, keep in mind that what you're dealing with here is an issue of digestion. What does the body do with anything you take in through your mouth? If you are taking in solid food or a solid herb in a capsule, the body's first efforts are to turn it into a liquid. That's what it does to everything we eat. Liquids are already in that form. They are usually much easier to assimilate. But if you're eating, say, a protein in the form of chicken or beef or anything else, even plant protein, the body's first attempt is to liquefy that so the protein dissolves, and it is the liquid that is taken up through the cells of the gastrointestinal tract. We arrange this as a tincture for superior uptake by the body.